Welcome back to Father and Son React to Death Battle. This is the Blade versus Buffy episode.
I don't hear you through the mic.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can talk like this for a little bit. You had something you wanted to share about these characters.
Okay, so it was very interesting. I've been lucky to find myself in different parts of the world at different times. I was able to see Blade 2 in Budapest, Hungary. We were bored. We didn't have anything to do that night. And one of the guys said, why don't we go to the movies? And we went and saw Blade 2.
Weird.
It's a very interesting concept for people to say, where did you see Blade? Oh, yeah, I saw it at the old multiplex in the corner. I happened to see it at Budapest, Hungary. And honestly, it's a terrible film.
Oh, really? I thought 3 was the bad one.
I'm not a fan of the
I thought 3
2.
was like the bad one.
Well, I did see it with somebody that had never seen the first one.
That's always hard when
Yeah.
it's less good than the first one, and you're like, oh, you know.
Yes, and we were also talking about
Buffy.
Buffy. You know, the movie Buffy, which I'm more of a movie person than I am a huge number of television episodes person. Like I said, Paul Rubin's best movie. And but you can do so much more. I mean, people don't like the movie for various reasons, but one is definitely because you can do so much more with the characters and build off them. All right. 3, 2.
Versus the Vampire Slayer.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
This is a good one.
This is
excited.
a classic. This is a classic
They're
nerdcore
known
debate.
by many names.
Yeah.
Revenant, Vortala, Nosferatu.
Vampires. When the moon is out and the night is young, these undead demons are out for blood.
Fitting then that the greatest foe of those who stalk the night is the one who can walk the day. Blade.
Is that really his costume?
Hang on.
Now
There we
there's
go.
a man who doesn't file his taxes. Blade is one of the coolest superheroes ever, and basically kickstarted the comic book movie craze.
And yet, he is also seemingly the only one who knows or cares
That is
in
true.
the world of Marvel
movies
vampires exist.
owe a lot to him.
Seriously, nobody talks about this.
Blade doesn't need anyone's help. He'll just aura farm by himself.
Even Blade's birth was hardcore. Just as the young Eric Brooks' mother was in labor, her attending doctor turned out to be the vampire Deacon Frost.
And he drank her blood right before she gave birth.
This infused Eric with Frost's vampiric blood, turning him half human, half vampire. A Dampier.
Giving him a ton of vampy powers, but none of their weaknesses like garlic, holy water, or sunlight.
Eric would hone these abilities under the tutelage of vampire hunter Jamal Afari, sharpening him into a blade that would rape the vampire plague for good.
Blade is strong and fast enough to toss around 1,000-pound demons and cut bullets out of the air. He can keep up with Wolverine, who can deflect Cyclops' light-speed optic blasts, and his Kevlar DuPont armor helps.
At this
him
point,
take
it's
the
like,
town
what Marvel
down
character
once
doesn't
Castle
have like a
exploding.
light
He can
speed
heal
feed?
small wounds
Yeah, right.
immediately and sniff out the
I
supernatural
always like
with
when
his
they use the
hypersenses.
because of
His
him.
fangs can
We know
drip
that he can do
beacons
that.
of magical
Yeah.
energy.
I mean, it makes sense, but it is also
Ways of
tiring,
Kung Fu
right?
movies, Blade became a master martial artist. Ah, yes,
I
the
do
Rufus
love
from
the
Street
concept
Fighter
of
School of Kung
growing
Fu.
up in
While the only martial art he's been stated
70s,
to know is Krav Maga, we know
learning
he's
everything you know
mastered
about
more.
kung,
So for the
kung
first
fu
look
by
at his martial
movies.
arts ability, we'll examine the Blade movies as performed by Wesley Snipes.
By looking at Snipes' training and choreography, we know Blade uses Kung Fu, Capoeira, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Eskrima, kickboxing, Shotokan Karate, and Hapkido. Add on Blade's knack for stealthy takedowns, and I guess you could call him Marvel's Batman.
Blade's training progressed smoothly until Afari was attacked and had his blood drained by Dracula, Seriously, Avengers, Dracula is real. Why aren't you doing anything about this? There!
Forced to murk his surrogate dad, Blade would have to wage his war alone.
Nursing a wound within him that would never heal. A hole that could never be filled.
Not with that attitude. Blade took a page out of the Book of Boomstick and tried filling that hole with every kind of weapon imaginable. He's got so many, they're his apartment decorations.
Handguns, assault rifles, and explosives make up the brunt of his firepower. And he enjoys getting up close and personal with his dual acid-etched titanium katanas.
Speaking of glorious Nippon steel, he's got a sword made out of adamantium.
Specifically, secondary adamantium. A variant of the metal that is mass-producible.
It might not be quite as strong as Cap's shield, but it can cut right through heavy hitters like Ultron and the Hulk.
Naturally, Blade has even more swords. His Atlantean ones can slice through magical enchantments. The Word Sword can harm intangible demons, and the Justiciar can slay fallen angels.
Yeah, he's got some weird stuff he can pull out of his ass, like a Hellfire shotgun that burns your soul, or hypodermic needles filled with vampire blood. Seems kinda dumb to turn people into vampires, but it does make them more vulnerable to Blade's arsenal.
All that pales in comparison to the arch weapon of hell in Blade's possession, the breathing gun. It is a living firearm that hisses in the presence of demonic forces. Its sentient bullets chase its victims down. The wounds they cause cannot be healed. And if they get lodged in your body, they'll slowly devour you from the inside out.
That's pretty
That's
cool.
pretty.
That's sick.
Greater threats like the cosmic Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Blade took everything he
I
had
definitely
and
say
fought
I
his
don't
one-man
know
war for
everything,
almost
but boy, I didn't know that
100
one. That's
years.
actually
Battled
really
hordes
cool.
of vampires while skydiving, infiltrated the Pentagon, and even took on Spider-Man like Miles Morales, who could absorb the energy of a bomb that could destroy Harlem. Blades even bested the spirit of vengeance, Zarathos.
And while he occasionally allied with teams like the Avengers, he prefers to work alone.
I probably would too if they only cared about me when I was helping them and not ridding the world of, vampires.
That, and Blade is scared of what he might do if he loses control, because he does have one classic vampire weakness: a thirst for blood. Blah.
Even more so after he had a daughter, Brielle, whom he avoided for fear of endangering her. If his bloodlust does overwhelm him, he will enter a berserker rage, skyrocketing his strength at the cost of his sanity.
Though it does make him even better at killing vamps. He's made a cottage industry out of whooping Dracula's ass.
Dracula is unsurprisingly powerful, capable of summoning a thunderstorm that covered all of Boston with a wave of his hand.
Drac apparently didn't hold a grudge though, since he eventually made Blade the sheriff of Vampirsk, a vampire nation in the ruins of Chernobyl.
Amazingly, Dracula has even given Blade some of his own blood, which allows him to shapeshift into multiple forms, like a wolf, a horde of bats, or a cloud of mist.
So he can force his way inside your body and blow you up from the
So he's got the higher tier vampire powers as well.
With the Ant-Man. Blade's hatred of vampires is only matched by his hatred of himself. However, when Brielle showed signs of vampiric powers, Blade finally found a reason to reconnect with his daughter, training her the same way Afari trained him a century prior.
Even after Blade was possessed by the first vampire ever and tried to take over the planet, Brielle put her dad's teachings to the test, saving both him and the world.
And proving that Blade's lonely war need not be so lonely anymore. With his daughter at his side, and also this plant creature pet called Boy Thing, let Marvel's vampires beware. For should they indulge their unnatural urges, they will be sure to meet their end at the tip of his blade.
There we go.
Nice.
Today's battle is sponsored by
this is like a classic sponsor for them at this point. Anything you didn't know about? I imagine a lot of the more modern stuff you didn't know about.
Yeah,
Don't miss the excitement of football season on
I
PricePicks, where it's
had
good
some
to be
assumptions
right,
on the daughter.
like I always am.
The gun is very cool.
The gun is pretty sick.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. There was definitely things that were tied in there that other people did.
It's like, oh, he beat the Ghost Rider with this. Like, and it's like, oh, I can definitely see that. Oh, Ghost Rider did this coming up later, right? Like, right?
He's much more.
He's a lower tier character who occasionally crosses over with the higher tier characters.
Yeah, I did love the Avengers. He's right.
Dracula exists.
Beautiful.
Cap does not not care, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, Dracula exists, is real.
That was a very...
Magneto is people are worried about Magneto, but Dracula has a vampire nation?
Yes. Good job.
All right, let's learn about
Every
Buffy. Results of that.
There is a
Here we go.
chosen one. She alone will stand against the vampires, the demons, and the forces of darkness. She is the Slayer.
For thousands of years, a new Slayer would be granted incredible powers and was destined to die young in battle against evil, passing their powers on to the next Slayer, and the next, and so on. That is, until the newest Slayer would change everything. Buffy Ann Summers.
Not exactly the first girl you'd think is the savior of humanity. Buffy's only goals in life were, in her own words, graduate from high school, go to Europe, marry Christian Slater, and die.
But that would
Your
all
brother's
change
named
when the
after
Watcher
Christian
Merrick
Slater.
appeared
Your
and
brother
revealed
Christian.
her destiny.
Yeah.
Like, total bummer.
Merrick trained Buffy in the arts of vampire slaying, and she became so efficient that she burned down her school. Whoops.
Forcing her and her mom to move to Sunnydale, California to start a new life, far away from any more bloodsuckers and bad makeup.
Unfortunately,
Gotta
small
love-
problem,
gotta
Sunnydale
love me,
just so
Paul
happened to be
Rubens,
right on top
yeah.
of a hellmouth,
Cameo.
where the boundary between Earth and Hell is permeable.
Yeah, that sounds like the Valley, all right. Along with new Watcher Giles, Wallflower Willow, part-time bad boy, part-time sad boy Angel, magical retcon sister Dawn, and Xander. Buffy and her Scooby gang would battle a never-ending series of monsters.
And we mean truly never-ending. Sure, there's the TV show, but Buffy has also been slaying vampires across video games, comics, and 128 novels. Tens of thousands of pages of Buffy lore you've never heard of.
But we're just crazy enough to speed read them all.
Buffy carries a variety of anti-vampire weaponry. There's wooden stakes, of course, sometimes dipped in gorgon venom that can turn you to stone. Though she's also experienced with axes, swords, quarterstaffs, holy water, just about anything.
You said it! When she fought an ancient demon unable to be killed by any weapon forged in his time, Buffy introduced his stupid ass to the 20th century.
She's also a master of Aikido, Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, karate, kung fu, wushu, tai chi, kendo, capoeira, and taekwondo.
Buffy apparently
that's
thinks
more.
Hong Kong's kung fu movie masters could learn a thing or two.
No kidding. Thanks to her Slayer senses, her reflexes are fine-tuned enough to dodge close-range Gatling gun fire, lightning bolts from the sky, and even beams of light. She's kept up with another Slayer, Faith, who can dodge laser beams from point-blank range.
Buffy's
Yep,
strong enough
we got
to
lasers.
rebar, punch this 4.5-ton bat monster into the air, and smash hard enough to tear apart a building.
And despite her lack of armor, she can survive massive
Oh, that was
explosions,
great.
like the one that destroyed Cephrilion's lair that's bigger on the inside.
She can even fight blindfolded, but if she is injured, she heals fast enough to be totally fine by the next episode.
One time, Angel sucked out almost all of the blood from her body, and she survived. Doubly impressive since Angel's blood draining also drains magical energy.
Yeah, Buffy's own magic makes her weirdly resilient to esoteric attacks, like when she expelled this misty shadow demon trying to possess her body, or when she resisted her soul being ripped apart and scattered across time.
Or that time she jumped into a
128 novels, huh?
Yeah. Skeletons, and she was just fine.
She might not show physical scars, but she sure has emotional ones. Being the Slayer put a huge burden on Buffy's life.
Unable to live normally, she felt isolated, forced to internalize the trauma she faced on a daily basis. Sure, she had friends, but they couldn't understand her unique struggle.
Like when Angel turned evil after he took her virginity and tried to destroy the world. That must be one of those metaphors.
Sometimes the worst enemies are the ones you can't fight, and who don't fight back.
Made even worse by her having all the memories of the other Slayers bouncing around in her head, dating back to the Stone Age.
Buffy has dreamt of
She
every
gets experience
battle a
then,
Slayer
right?
has ever fought, and can call upon those skills in a fight, even subconsciously.
But this includes the memories of their deaths. Countless women violently dying young, a reminder of her inevitable fate.
A fate that came to pass when she fought the Hell God Glory. After leaping into Glory's reality-ending interdimensional hole,
A glory hole, if you will.
Buffy sacrificed herself to save
I
the
guess it
universe,
was low-hanging
dying
fruit.
a hero's death.
It appears my glory hole joke was poorly timed.
Finally freed of her unfair earthly responsibilities, Buffy's soul ascended to heaven in perfect bliss.
And then they made more?
Until her friends brought her back to life in the agony of existence. This absolutely crushed.
There's
Buffy
more money to be
and
made. Bring her back!
ironically annihilated her will to live.
Oh, that's rough, Buffy. But with the show renewed for more seasons, she had to nut up and continue her endless crusade against all things Spirit Halloween.
Buffy's battled for 48 hours straight, defeated vampires immune to traditional vampiric weaknesses, and destroyed the Sword of Sano, which caused the Great Hanshin earthquake.
And of course, both Buffy and her friends have defeated countless immensely powerful demons.
Like the Queller Demon, which arrived as a meteor and caused the Tunguska explosion, which destroyed over 2,000 square kilometers of forest. Or the Sorrow Demon, which caused a storm that blanketed Los Angeles.
She's also a
you
match
can
for
see where
Angel,
this is
who
leading.
survived a blast that could rupture a continental shelf, and took hits from Whistler, whose magic contained a bomb that could vaporize London.
She even faced off against the first evil, literally the embodiment of all evil that predates reality itself.
Forced into battles against stronger and stronger baddies, Buffy clearly needed something to even the odds. The Slayer safe!
It's actually a Bardiche.
Yeah, whatever. I'm just gonna say it. This thing is bullshit.
Containing the essence of Buffy's Slayer powers and created to defeat ancient demons, the Scythe can deflect magical projectiles and slice through just about anything.
The Scythe conceived a child with Willow in the novels, don't
itself,
ask.
destabilizing reality in the process.
Even Silas, the devourer of worlds. Kinda like Galactus, but instead of chomping on planets, he eats the multiverse. And there goes his head.
The Scythe is easily the most powerful tool in her arsenal. In effect, attaining it completed Buffy, as though it were a piece of her she never knew was missing. With the Scythe, Buffy was finally whole. Being the Slayer was no longer a burden, but a purpose.
And by sharing her Slayer powers with thousands of girls around the world, they all teamed up and kicked the first evil's ass.
Suddenly, the always isolated Buffy had thousands of shoulders to lean on, a sisterhood of Slayers.
And thousands more reasons for any wannabe demon conqueror to stay away from Earth. Because unless you want to get your blood all over her stylish yet affordable boots, you'll steer clear of Buffy, the Vampire Slayer.
I was going into this episode leaning towards Buffy
As you know,
because I just figured there was a lot of there wasn't a lot of
October.
research done on Buffy,
Stupid, it's the
right?
October
Yeah.
celebration.
I don't get it.
Come on, don't you watch Death Battle Cast?
I'm
And for the
definitely
first time
on
ever,
the Buffy
we've
side,
got
although
Skeletor merch
I
on the Death
think-
Battle store.
I honestly,
I'm a bigger
the thing
fan.
is though, the thing is though,
Yeah, look at that head.
like you said
I'm
earlier,
putting those
they mentioned that
stickers
like
on
Blade
everything.
beat this guy.
Yeah,
He
but
beat this
a
guy.
lot of those
You know,
were
that, they didn't
equivalent.
elaborate on a
You
lot of
can
that
find all
Yeah.
because maybe they would elaborate on it
Including our
later,
limited desk
right?
or
Yeah,
something.
I
I'm-
don't know.
I
think-
was expecting to go into this with me picking
That's
Buffy and you picking Blade, but I would be more than happy to pick Blade if you wanted to pick Buffy.
Skeletor.
I've got Buffy just because I think that
There's
so
there.
much material.
I'm taking Blade, you're taking
All
Buffy.
Got it.
It's time for a live-action death battle!
Vampire Club?
Oh, I will say that the soundtrack to the first Blade movie is great. Not just good, great. Highly recommended.
Okay.
I used to have it on cassette and then CD. No.
We were kings long before they had a name for kings. But now,
Wow, this is just a short film.
hunted, gotten. You have waited long enough. Tonight, we remember who we were. Tonight, we take back what was always ours. Tonight, we
Feed.
feast.
Daywalker.
She... That's just the start.
This is from the first movie. Oh, nice. They put a lot of...
How are they going to start fighting each other if it starts with them just killing vampires?
Somebody's gonna say the other one's gotta go.
Yeah.
I gotta believe that it's Buffy saying that he's gotta go. Like,
Oh, that's sick.
yeah, we've seen that a lot.
Wait!
Was that supposed to be Willow?
I don't know. He can deflect bullets. A crossbow's nothing.
Kid!
Not anymore.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah,
Blake is weak to, obviously being staked would hurt, but like Blake isn't like uniquely weak to stakes.
all of this is gonna end out. They're going to be perfectly even matched on hand to hand.
Is it coming down to their weapons?
Amateur hour. There's always some motherfucker trying to ice skate uphill.
There you go. I was actually wondering if they would have Buffy say it. You know? This is more tonally Blade than Buffy, I would say. To my limited knowledge. Yeah.
Oh, the Bardiche? It's the Bardiche.
Epic weapon versus epic weapon?
Yeah. Well, not anymore. Oh, that's right. Is it inside?
It got her! It got her! It went into her thigh!
Yeah. It's true. If
It's gonna kill her. Can he kill her? She has to kill him before it kills her.
Another sword.
I see you cut through adamantium.
Bring it on.
This reminds me a lot of like the an older death battle where they can really like make it as long as they want, you know? They generally try to get around 3 minutes with the fight in today, but this is a bit longer.
I know.
Oh no?
What's the dying move that gets her to come back?
Oh!
Oh, head's coming off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was,
But
I
it's
thought
not
they might be
over.
trying to fake me out, but they seemed like they built that up pretty,
Yeah.
like that was their conclusion. Yeah?
I still want to know about the gun in the leg.
It's like you got ahead of yourself.
There you
Oh,
go.
nice.
To be Blade tenued no longer. I'm surprised. I figured with Blade's many years of comic book history, he'd have the edge.
Believe it or not, Buffy is actually in more
More.
comics than Blade.
Yeah.
Really? Man, Blade can't catch a break.
Let's break this down into 4 categories. First up, stats. Buffy's lifted much heavier things and survived more significant explosions.
Like, sure, Blade's strong and all, but he isn't literally fucking buildings apart like Buffy.
Scaling to the monsters they fought, compare Dracula creating a storm that covered Boston to the Sorrow Demon creating a storm that covered Los Angeles, a city over 5 times larger. You might be able to compare Blade to Spider-Man like Miles, who absorbed a bomb that could blow up Harlem, but that's significantly weaker than Whistler containing a blast that could wipe out London. They could both dodge light beams, but that doesn't keep Buffy from taking the overall edge in stats.
Blade's used to being the odd man out, though, so his versatility is just as important.
With Blade's numerous powers and massive arsenal, he certainly could have overwhelmed the more straightforward Buffy.
Machine guns and magic swords are generally gonna beat out crossbows and morning stars. Not to mention, he actually wears armor.
Also, Blade's faster healing factor and immunity to traditional vampire weaknesses kept Buffy on the back foot for a time. Blade wins versatility.
But when it comes to skill, Buffy's got plenty of experience.
Yeah, this actually
fighting opponents
seemed like it was clear
barehanded.
cut.
Both of them were masters of a similar number of martial arts.
And Blade has been kicking vampire ass for a century, way longer than Buffy's even been alive.
While Blade may have more personal experience, Buffy's ability to draw on Slayer battles dating back to the Stone Age, at least 40 times older than Blade, gives her the superior skill. Even then, they both had weapons and abilities so powerful they could end the fight instantly, regardless of all else.
They're trump cards. Fortunately for Buffy, she actually countered almost all of what Blade could throw at her.
Withstanding Blade draining her energy with his bite? Check.
Resisting the Hellfire shotgun destroying her soul? Check.
Preventing Blade turning to mist and exploding her from the inside
Oh, yeah.
out? Check.
Meanwhile, Blade had no way to survive, say, Buffy's Gorgon venom turning him to stone.
And even with the deadly and just plain gross breathing gun, Blade did not have anything as potent as the Slayer sight. It could easily deflect the breathing gun's bullets back at him, or use its space-cutting ability to slice through his unbreakable adamantium sword.
Don't believe us? Even Wolverine's adamantium skeleton was cut in half when a portal closed on top of him. That's the same kind of thing.
And Wolverine's beta adamantium skeleton is a much tougher version of the same metal.
Oh, and since the Scythe could kill Silas, a multiverse devouring god, I think you could take down Blade with a big enough swing.
Giving Buffy the final advantage over
Yikes.
the Daywalker.
Kind of a
Blade
blowout.
had a chance, but Buffy
Yeah.
sure put a damn fear on things.
The winner is Buffy the
Well,
Vampire.
I feel
set
good
up
that I
really-
got to support Blade.
Next time on
Oh,
Death Battle.
I'm a bigger fan of Blade. Buffy came into power a little after.
Dante!
Subscribe and
Oh,
join us
shit!
to see more Death Battle. Thanks for watching.
I have to bone up on that one.
I wasn't expecting that one. That's awesome.
That is, to me, one of the best ones I've ever done.
The whole live action, making it a whole film.
And doing everything and putting it all together. That was a beautiful episode.
I'm really glad you thought that. I was unsure because you have your issues with the way they scale the characters on occasion. But this guy did this, this guy did this, and they were like
how it looked. How
in terms of like how the actual fight looked, you were like, that's exactly what I wanted it to look like.
Yeah, it was very, very good for an internet group.
Show. I mean, that's just probably a lot where a lot of the money from the Kickstarter went, right?
All right, so we have prize picks. Because we talked.
I mean, I guess if you want to do prize picks, I don't know, but I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable endorsing that. But if they, you know what, support Death Battle.
That was the second break. Was Death
support Death Battle. How about that one? They do a lot of good work, and they get a lot of crap, and sometimes it's deserved. But
I love talking over the breaks, but. We've got to make sure they get their breaks.
All right. You guys have a good night, and we'll see you guys in a couple weeks for the next one.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.